It's a trucking, transportation, and lifestyle show like none other.
Man, you call this a life?
Road Gang Radio is back for another half hour of the best transpo show in the known universe.
We come in peace. Well, actually, we're falling to pieces.
Let's see if we can achieve liftoff, Phone Master Dre.
It is time to lift off into some strangeness with Jimmy Mack and Lindsay Lawler live from the Fastport Studios on Road Gang Radio. Hell
Welcome
again.
back. It's the most spooky time of the year. Thanks for bringing us back. Phone Master Dre, keeping us on the ones and the twos. You do it so well.
Sometimes.
Can I still call him Sexy Jesus now that I've been baptized? Like,
Of course, man.
I think I call even more.
He's inhabited by the spirit of the Naz.
Yeah, let's go, Sexy Jesus.
Jesus, take the, I was going to say modules, but the faders. There it is.
Jesus,
Take the board. Turn me up in the headphones, y'all. Okay, Jim, this is going to be fun. I know you love October. Are you sad that this is our last week of October? Does that
No.
Okay.
I'm fine because as you well know that I love to have the week before Christmas be about the horror stories people tell before Christmas.
I know. You're so weird and wonderful, and I love that. So we're about to talk about a show that explores, speaking of the weird, explores the weird, the wonderful, the paranormal, and the downright disturbing corners of our world, Jim. Talk to me about what's about to happen.
Gav Chuckie Steele is not only a horror filmmaker, but also hosts another podcast, not the one we're talking about, called Podcast on Haunted Hill, talking about horror films. And Sarah, when she's not crocheting horror characters, I really want to get into that, actually hosts...
That
old chestnut, by the way.
Very specific, by the way.
They are both the host of the High Strangeness Podcast, which, man, it was great to go on literally a binge festival catching up on this stuff. It is a show that brings you the weird, the wonderful, and downright disturbing, by the way.
Downright.
By the way, they had a bonus episode recently, Lindsay, about the lack of the rapture that just had me in stitches, by the way. And yes, guys, you were right. It is Puritan. It is Protestant. Ain't no Catholic believes in that, man. They always think they can bribe their way out of hell.
Horrifying.
Stories and true life craziness from the world we live in. Gav, Sarah, welcome to Road Gang Radio. It's great to have you both.
Woo!
Yeah, thank you for having us. We really appreciate that you guys have been listening to the show and you like it.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
Well, and we're happy to have you. I hear you're joining us while you guys are on holiday. Is that correct? And if so, please let us live vicariously. Where are you? Where are you?
We are on the East Coast, halfway up England on the East Coast, where it's kind of cold and windy and there's a choppy sea.
And that's holiday for you, though, yes? I'm just clarifying.
It was just to get away a little bit. It wasn't really a proper holiday. It's just a bit of a break.
Yeah, we always try and find something spooky to do while we're on holiday as well. So
I'm guessing you're finding inspiration for a next episode where you are, correct?
Yeah, earlier on we went and found an old abandoned church, which is from the 15th century, where apparently a witch was buried at the church, killed and buried at the church, buried alive, and then she had a wooden leg, and this tree goes all the way through the church, and she said that her wooden leg was going to be like a curse, so it would go through and destroy the church, and this tree did.
Oh my God,
we saw that earlier. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So one of the things about y'all's podcast that I just love, and and Dre has been listening this week too, and I told him to hold off. We held off on the last thing on the bonus content as we were catching up, and so I brought it in this morning. So just listen to it together. So we went and listened to it together, and we got to talking. The overlap and the way you guys talk, and of course we understand why that is, but there is something that really does something that some podcasts kind of get away from now, is that it's so conversational. It feels like you've joined two friends in the spookiest coffee shop you possibly can imagine, and literally somehow you manage to keep the thing on the rails while at the same time going all over the place. So can you talk a little bit about developing it and putting this thing together in a way that both feels incredibly conversational and at the same time, we're talking about Nazi occultists and paranoia and conspiracies and Jesus taking the wheel and driving only the good people home. So kind of unpack all of that.
Yeah, well, for us, the show... the other podcast I do, not to speak about too much, I tried to make that kind of like a radio show. And I did that one first before I started doing this one with Sarah. So I was already doing a podcast. I said to Sarah, who's my other half, I said, did you want to do something? Because we both really like spookiness. We like we don't like true crime. We like getting into the idea of serial killers, why they do it, etc.
And kind of like the mental state of people, you know, and the weird ways the brain can take you when you think you're in control of yourself, and you kind of not, because your brain has got different ideas, you know, and why people do what they do.
So we always sort of talked about these things anyway. So I was just like, well, do you want to do a podcast? And I said, well, let's do it in a different way where it's a bit lazy for me, but where Sarah will do the research, then I come at it as she tells me what her notes are on a certain subject. Then I come back to her and try and be the audience and ask the sort of questions. But yes, we do derail and go off on a little segue at times and start talking about random stuff, but we do pull it back again.
We manage. I mean, I think it's because we both have ADHD as well. We kind of wander about all over the place, but it's because of the way we are together. Yeah. I think we've always been like that, haven't we? Conversation, and we talk about things and we try and work stuff out. So it's kind of come into the podcast with that. That is what we hope for, I think, is that it would be like you could listen and it would be like you were just joining in a conversation, you know. And so, I'm glad it comes across that way.
When we first started doing it, the first 5 or 6 episodes, I personally had to try and stop talking over the top of Sarah, because we were just generally like we are. We've got to remember that other people are now going to be listening on the podcast. So it's okay, talk, now you talk, now I talk. And it's an easy thing to not do when you're in a conversation flowing, when your brain wants to say a million things. But
actually, this might be one scenario where ADHD comes in handy between the two of you.
Yeah.
because it's like you might, if you didn't, hearing some of these episodes, it's like if one of y'all's or both of y'all's ADHD hadn't sparked, we may miss a whole nother trajectory of the show. So lean in, I say.
Absolutely.
Lean in, make it your superpower, is what I say.
Definitely. Yeah, embrace it.
Yeah, well, the fact that Sarah has notes, she can kind of pull it back, and occasionally I'll be like, okay, come on, we've got to pull this back, because I do think of the audience at home listening or whatever. So we do try to pull it back and carry on topic, you know.
It's interesting, too, because, as you know, Lindsay and I do something a little bit similar, not the same thing at all. And one of the things that we constantly find ourselves having to do is that Lindsay actually will make a mental note and literally check the clock and know at a certain time, I'm going to stop whatever nonsense is happening right here, and we're going to get back to the bureaucracy of letting people know exactly where we are as we kind of move through this. One of your more recent episodes, and I just loved it. I felt like it was like this gift waiting for me as I made my way through the podcast. One of the more recent episodes is about the Nazis and the occult, and I have to tell you, as somebody who believes that the Nazis could have possibly thought out the thing, they were the ones who actually almost unleashed the Ark of the Covenant on the whole world. But I love these stories, by the way, because so much of what we're seeing right now in the world with when you see the ascension of authoritarian stuff coming up, a lot of these people live in their own kind of sealed reality. And there was something about the weirdness of it that I think a lot of people forget. They always think about the Germans making trains run on time, like Mussolini, who didn't make the trains run on time, by the way. But there is a sense of, we always forget how strange these guys were. These were some of the weirdest people to ever have a major seat of power, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, it was strange when we started getting into it and then looking into it. And like I said on the show, like if the Germans or the Nazi party and hit themselves, if they actually really concentrated on the war itself, there was that slight chance that they could have won the war that they were trying to win. But because they were kind of quite into just these other things like the occult and such, or just different certain things which are not so normal.
Esoteric kind of stuff, you know, and
because they're into these things, they kind of took their eye off their prize, so to speak, of winning the war, what they wanted to do. So it's really interesting that they kind of derailed themselves a little bit slightly with these, I don't know, these ideas and thoughts and things.
But I think you're right, you know, and when we speak about Nazis and things like that, people just immediately jump to, obviously, all the Holocaust and that kind of thing. And I think, what we were trying to go for was like the behind-the-scenes kind of thing that people might not know about the Nazis and the National Socialists, because it was so weird, you know, and obviously trying all these different things and the super weapons and and the occult and stuff like that is kind of like so crazy, but never gets spoken about really. So
yeah, so it's just an interesting subject, and that was our 100th episode, which we just sort of did. So it's kind of like our big 100th episode. We thought we'd do something interesting, and that was a really interesting subject to get into. Obviously, the Nazis and Hitler and horrible what they were doing and stuff, but this other stuff is really quite fascinating. As Sarah said, you don't kind of look at all that stuff all the time, so it's interesting to.
I'd love to know about it. I'd love to know about y'all's, let's say, maybe mission statement or bottom line here. You know, a lot of companies come out and they're like, okay, here's our core values. And because the weirdness and the spookiness comes down to opinion and perspective and what's weird and spooky to you guys. So in y'all's view, that word means you guys together, by the way. I'm from Texas. But in y'all's view, what qualifies as something as high strangeness? Because, like, what's the difference between a weird story and one that really actually crosses the threshold into we might be dealing with something unexplainable here? do you have a party line there?
I don't know, really. I suppose it's just anything that we consider out of the ordinary, which is, I don't know, it's quite a bit, isn't it, really? I mean, we're quite out of the ordinary ourselves, so it's got to be something quite weird.
All our episodes are really, all our episodes are really different and very, like, we're episode on stalking, where you might not look at stalking as a high strangeness, but at the same time, if you look into the behaviour and reasons why someone's doing it, that is a real strange thing.
Yeah, very strange.
And you go through most of our, you go through most.
By the way, I'm sorry. I hope all of our listeners think that stalking is strange. By the way, yes, that is considered strange.
Yes, I hope so. Yes. And we've got so many different episodes of different things.
Because we've done like Bigfoot, an episode about Bigfoot, an episode about UAPs and UFOs and things like that. We've done ghosts. We've got some kind of special Halloween episodes as well, right up to like just true crime, stuff that people would know, like major serial killers, Richard Ramirez and things like that. So it's kind of like all across the board. Yeah. Murder mystery. We've got an episode on hoarders, people who hoard things, and so it kind of goes across the board, really. I think we did one on amputees, didn't we? Elective amputation and things like that. So it kind of really does go across the board, I don't know.
It's not really a line, really. No. It's if it comes across to us as strange, we're in there with it.
We're there.
Well, I have to say, real quick, Jim, the hoarder one, that one I heard in it that one really creeped me out, because here's the thing that y'all do really well. You introduce things, but you go into your own detail of the show, but I feel like you also leave enough up to the imagination where I'm listening to your story on the hoarder episode, but I'm also going to crazy places, putting myself in there and feeling really dirty and scratchy, by the way, while I'm listening to it. Like, you leave enough space for the listener to go where they want with it, as deep or not deep as they want, while you're kind of directing the story. So anyway, I think that's really cool, whether you're doing that consciously or not. That's what comes across to me.
I hope it's consciously. I think that's Sarah's great research and knowledge, really.
Thank you.
Sometimes Sarah will say stuff to me when we're doing episodes, and it creeps me out as we're doing the episode live. I'll be like, that really creeps me out. The Jimmy Savile one, that horrible BBC presenter in England, which obviously I think most people know of nowadays. That one really, that sickened me when she was telling me about that. So sometimes some of the episodes can really get to me as well. So I tried to act as the audience, like I said, especially even with reactions.
I think Christmas, was it Christmas one year? We did a cannibalism episode as well, didn't we?
That's sweet
as well.
Nothing spells Christmas like cannibalism.
Here's how to be friends, though, guys. Last week we did a Friday episode. We did a half an hour with an adventurer, explorer, author who came on and talked about cannibalism with us. By the way,
oh really?
Yeah, our guest, by the way, just to kind of give you a sense of the High Strangeness podcast, he's not kidding, by the way, when he says this. You can often hear his genuine surprise or sometimes revulsion when she introduces certain things into it. And you guys, in the moment, will often ask the question, because it's interesting. It's a smart way of kind of prepping a podcast, that you know just enough to be able to kind of stay on your feet, but not enough so that you're actually have prepared responses. So what ends up happening a lot of the time is one of the two of you will ask your partner a legitimate question, like, hey, wait a minute, go back and explain that in more detail, and then you'll have to kind of explain it more, or one of you will have an emotional reaction to something because it's clear that there are things you are hearing for the absolutely first time. And I'm wondering if there's going to become a moment where one of you says, that's it, I'm done, I'm not listening, can we change the topic, please?
Yeah, the Jimmy Savile one actually legitimately made me sick, like to the point I thought I was going to be sick, because it was Sarah telling me about it, and because we're doing this podcast, I really need to get in there and hear what she's saying, and then I'm thinking about it. And because I'm thinking about it, I then almost picture it, and I not like want to, and then that can take you places. But even Sarah before has done stuff, and I can see like tears in her eyes when she's sort of speaking about some subjects which are just really sad or something. So we do try and keep it a completely live reaction as such. We don't really edit the show. It's one take, and we put it out.
Yeah, it's an honest review of kind of the material.
The human side.
The material that we're speaking about, it is an honest review of it. If it upsets one of us, then you'll hear that.
And we do try to do a warning before the shows, which are really bad, because some of them are bad.
Yeah, there is some that are quite horrific.
But we do fun stuff as well, like Bigfoot. So
it's a good balance. It's definitely a good balance. But I'm wondering how much you guys, which I'm sure a lot, but learn from this as well. Because have you ever started an episode thinking, well, this is complete nonsense, this is straight up nonsense, and then ended the research believing there's actually something going on here? Have you convinced yourself of the madness ever during research and writing these shows?
I don't think I've ever kind of convinced myself about anything. I'm quite open-minded. So I do believe in the possibility of like quite a lot of things really, and also in the possibilities of the mind and the brain and the way that people's kind of general workings can go. So I don't know if I've ever surprised myself with anything. Or convinced myself about anything. How about you?
No, because we kind of we have many episode ideas, but we don't always do all those ideas. So generally the episodes we do a slight little research to make sure they're fairly legit before Sarah starts doing the full-on research. I think there might be times when I've come at some stuff not completely into the same frame of mind you are, and you've persuaded me through what you've said and stuff and research. But I can't think of any examples.
All right, so I have to ask you, Gav. I have to ask you about this. Is there a horror movie that you guys watch every Halloween? Do you have a series of Halloween traditions as they come up on top of us? Because I kind of want to know about you guys as you kind of operate together, the things you enjoy together. I know how much you love horror movies. Is there anything you guys gravitate towards this time of year?
My
eldest child always loves to watch every year, Trick or Treat.
I was going to say that one. That would be one for me as well. I watch that every year.
It's not the old 80s metal one, which was like Trick or Treat. It's Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat.
It's the anthology.
Oh, okay.
Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
Trick or Treat, the anthology. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's like that's now that you could put that every year, watch that Halloween, because it's really good stories. It's a good film, and it's kind of like with Christmas movies. You have certain Christmas themed films, like It's a Wonderful Life, wherever I watch this every year. That you can watch. The classic Halloween I do always like. I have seen it to death, but I do like the original John Carpenter one. I don't know.
I'd say definitely those two.
Those two are pretty much up there. Any John Carpenter film really on Halloween's good as well, really.
Yeah.
So you're both going to love this, by the way. When my wife and I went to Universal's Halloween Horror Nights, the first time that I went with her, because she'd been numerous times before then, when Claire and I went, they do 10 haunted houses at night. And I'm talking about when Universal Studios does a haunted house, they do a haunted house. One of them was completely, you walked through the movie Trick or Treat. You walked it.
Oh wow.
amazing.
Nice. Whereabouts was that? Which Universal Studio?
The one in Orlando. It was the Orlando one. And
okay.
When I tell you, they had Lindsay. One of the things that's in that movie is there is a little monster that we think is a little boy that has a head like a pumpkin and is carrying around a pumpkin lollipop. That little they brought kids in who were wandering the entire thing. So every place you went, the guy, it kept turning up, and almost every scene you walked in, you went from the witches coven in the woods. Yep.
No.
You went. You had to deal with the vampires, all of it, and you had to walk through a giant woods. Is how they did it until you walked.
I have
through
a
the
6-year-old. I couldn't watch that because I would think every time I put my kid to sleep, I'd be like, "Are you gonna kill me?" That was all I'd be able to think. Scary kids. I can't with scary kids.
By the way, one of the new Fangorias is all about scary kids. The entire episode is about scary kids in monster movies, which are like a thing that makes me crazy.
Oh no,
No.
I love Fangoria.
Well, what's scary? What's scary? I want you both to answer this, and you can decide who goes first. Ladies first, I would suggest. But you guys work through you work through your issues as you want.
That's absolutely fine.
But I'm so curious what scares you guys more, especially, and Gav, you make these horror films as well on the side, besides two y'all producing these stories. I want to know what scares you just in general, but then which also scares you more, the scripted horror or these unexplained real life events? Because there's a big difference between the two. A, which one scares you more? And B, just what scares you? What shows up in your dreams,
in general,
nightmares at night?
Okay, I'd say, I'm going to sound silly here, but nothing really scares me. I don't get scared of the dark. I'm not scared of monsters or anything like that. The thing that does scare me is the sea, and the deep sea, and the idea of being in the deep sea with no kind of way of being saved. That's what actually frightens me. I would be no good if I was in a shipwreck.
We did do Lost at Sea episode.
We did a Lost at Sea episode.
Yeah.
We also did Monsters of the Deep as well, didn't we? Episode. But yeah, so the sea scares me, but nothing else really.
Sarah, that's enough.
Other questions.
Sarah, that's enough.
Just the most powerful essence in the world. That makes sense. I'm with you.
Yeah, it's just kind of what's in there, and I can't touch the bottom, and it's scary.
No, it is a scary place to see. Yeah.
But yeah, to answer your other question, sorry, I would say real life horrors scare me more.
That's what's good.
Definitely.
Yeah, the human, I was going to say, for me, I'm not really too scared of things, really. I used to be a bit scared of spiders, but Sarah owns many a tarantula, so I'm fairly used to them now. But, they sleep next to me, so I don't actually sleep with them. What I think scares me, really, is the human mind, and the fact that the human mind can break as well, like mental health as well. I had a mental health breakdown, like, many years ago, and it wasn't for a few days, and that was just a very scary place to be. And then thinking of all the people in the world who have these problems and some can't get any help or speak to someone about it, then certain things can happen through mental health. I think humans scare me the most out of anything. Real life.
I'm just confused, though, Sarah. I don't know why you're so afraid of a place where both Moby Dick and Cthulhu live. I don't know why you'd be so terrified of those places. I mean, the sea is one of the most terrifying things ever. I mean, it's just like it is a monstrous, dark pit from which we have no understanding. Why would any of that terrify you whatsoever? Okay, so... You guys have covered a lot of strange material, and the extras are always going to have stuff inside of them. I realize that. Are there any topics that you guys have shied away from, not because it's not appropriate, but because you don't feel like you're ready to take them on, or anything on your bucket list of, we got to get around to covering this nonsense or this horror soon?
I do, or we have listeners' ideas and suggestions that come in, and sometimes they are ones where it's children getting hurt, possibly. I tried to shy away from that a little bit. We're not really into animals being hurt either. We have kind of covered a few where it's involving children and stuff, but we don't go into detail too much with that, because obviously we're both parents as well, so it's kind of it's a hard one. Yeah. We shy away from those, but we haven't particularly shied away from any subjects of yet. No, I don't think there's anything in particular we've kind of gone, oh God, we can't do that, or we can't talk about that. I think some of our episodes are actually quite
they're quite hardcore, aren't they? Quite intense. Like we covered the Chicago Ripper crew, which is really horrific. That was really cool. I think that was one of the episodes that upset me when we were talking through that. So I think we're quite brave, I think, really, with the episodes, and we don't tend to shy away from it, but we try and do it in a dignified way.
And put a warning.
On the subject matter,
And if we do like a hard episode, the next couple of episodes will be a lot softer. There'll be something which is a bit more fun or light-hearted, so to speak.
Yeah.
Little Grand Guignol where you give people both a hot shower and a cold shower. Gav, Chuckie, Steele, and Sarah Sarah King can be found on the High Strangeness Podcast, the High Strangeness Podcast.buzzsprout.com. It's a really fun website with a really great cartoon of them on the cover of it. Lindsay, you got time for one more of your kind of questions, one of your rapid fire questions. What you got?
Well, I'm just curious. I was going to say, give a quick overview of what you said. You do have kids, and what, UK, you guys do things a little differently than we do. What does Halloween night look for you guys? Both when, I don't know how old the kids were when they were young. What is like a perfect Halloween night celebration for you guys?
Well, when I was a kid, funny enough, my parents, I don't obviously live with my parents anymore, but when I was a kid in my parents' street, like Halloween wasn't really a thing. It was very much an American thing. It really wasn't over here at all. So growing up for me, there was nothing. But nowadays, like my parents' road, for example, is just heaving like any street for Halloween. Loads and loads of people and stuff. So for me personally, I do quite like going trick-or-treating with my kids. They are getting a bit older now, so I do quite like them dressed up. But this year, for the first time, I'm actually with Sarah for Halloween because we live quite far from each other. So we're going to actually have trick-or-treaters come around and watch the movies and stuff and just enjoy that, really.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it should be really good. My kids are kind of grown up now. My daughter's 20 and my son's 22. So no trick-or-treating, but I used to love taking them out. That was the highlight of the year, and they loved it so much. It was so lovely to go out and see all the houses all decorated, and the kids really enjoyed it. But now it's nice. Me and my daughter generally stay in and hand out treats to the trick-or-treaters and just do a big horror film marathon.
Yeah. And England has really embraced Halloween now, past probably 10 years. Really embraced it.
So many more houses decorated.
Yeah.
And, it's becoming more of a big thing, isn't it?
So, it's a big thing over here now.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for taking the time. Like we said, it's the High Strangeness Podcast, and you can head over to the High Strangeness Podcast.buzzsprout.com. You guys are adorable and awesome. Adorable, I don't know. Is scary adorable? Maybe it is. You make it more likable, guys. So you're thank you for bringing us all to the dark side in a very light way.
Well, thank you for having us on your show today. We appreciate it so much. And have a really spooky Halloween, guys.
Yeah, happy Halloween.